Fine. Thank you so much, Aaron. So now welcome to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang, your intel on the Philippine markets and the economy. In the headlines, Philippine President Bongbong Marcos in Kuala Lumpur reaffirms the country's commitment to a rules-based multilateral system. Philippines prepares to host the ASEAN next year. As calls grow to blockchain the national budget in response to corruption allegations, the Analytics AI Association of the Philippines says it is ready to work with government to do so. We have an excerpt of my thought leaders interviews with Ben Pihaiti and Michelle Alarcon.
It's always humans who are making the important decisions.
You can say that there's transparency in the technology.
And where to next for the haven bid on gold? U.S. stocks hit record highs as cooler inflation reinforces Fed rate cuts ahead. We take a deep dive with Aaron Tsai, consultant at First Metro Securities. He joins us live in studio. President Marcos is in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia for the 47th ASEAN Summit, meeting with world leaders to boost diplomatic, economic, and security ties. Among leaders that the president met on the sidelines include Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, whom he thanked for his steadfast support in upholding a rules-based international order. The palace says both leaders committed to boost cooperation on trade, investment, and energy. Marcos personally congratulated Japanese Prime Minister Sanai Takachi for her election and highlighted Manila and Tokyo's defense and security cooperation and their trilateral pact with the U.S. Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres reaffirmed the body's full support for Manila's upcoming chairmanship of the ASEAN in 2026. Marcos and Guterres discussed international and regional issues, sustainable development, and climate. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro says the president has expressed the country's readiness to host the ASEAN Summit next year.
Binigyan diin ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. na nakatuon sa practical, inclusive at measurable initiatives ang pag-host ng Pilipinas sa ASEAN sa susunod na taon. Nagpahayag din si Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa patuloy na pagsulong sa legasiya ng ASEAN. Layunin umano ng Pilipinas na makamit ang ASEAN Vision 2045.
Delegates from Timor-Leste were teary-eyed after the country officially becomes ASEAN's 11th member. Timor-Leste applied for membership in 2011, with ASEAN members agreeing in principle 3 years ago to accept the country into the bloc.
Timor-Leste enters ASEAN with full commitment to its charter, ready to be a constructive, peaceful, and devoted member. We pledge to work with all member states to keep our region peaceful, open, and prosperous, and to be part of efforts to build resilience, deepen unity, and ensure that no one is left.
President Donald Trump has also attended the ASEAN Summit, overseeing the signing of an expanded ceasefire deal between Cambodia and Thailand and striking 4 trade and rare earths pacts. The 47th ASEAN Summit enters its second day with leaders continuing talks on regional security, economic integration, and climate action, among others. For the latest, we have our mobile journalist, Julie Baisa, reporting from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. A very good morning to you, Julie. So what's transpired so far and what is in the agenda today and tomorrow?
Good morning, Cathy. Yes, it is now the second day of the 47th ASEAN Summit and related summits here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, attended by various leaders from ASEAN member states, including President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. One of the highlights of yesterday's sessions was the official admission of the Timor-Leste as the 11th member state of ASEAN. According to the President, this reflects the collective commitment of ASEAN to unity, cooperation, and shared prosperity in the region. Another notable event was the attendance of U.S. President Donald Trump, especially since one of the main items on the agenda is tariff discussions and trade cooperation. The Department of Foreign Affairs earlier stated that if given the opportunity, the Philippines will engage with the U.S. regarding economic matters. PBBM, together with his regional counterparts, also witnessed the handover ceremony on the second protocol to amend the ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement, or ATIGA. The enhanced ATIGA addresses current trade challenges and offers significant benefits through improvements in trade facilitation, transparency, and dispute settlement. Meanwhile, the signing of the ASEAN-China Free Trade Area 3.0 upgrade is expected tomorrow. This agreement aims to open new opportunities for collaboration in green and digital economies. The ACFTA 3.0 upgrade has included guidance on the different aspects of trade, including competition and consumer protection, digital economy, supply chain connectivity, and micro, small, and medium enterprises. Also on the table for discussion is the long-awaited Code of Conduct in the South China Sea, which remains crucial for maintaining peace and stability in the region. Cathy?
Julie, any conversations around corruption, governance, accountability issues? Because that's been a big deal amongst investors wanting to invest in the Philippines or are currently invested here.
Cathy, there are other schedules today included in the agenda are the issues on trade and different disputes in the region. So other scheduled today is the ASEAN plus 3 meeting, the ASEAN Korea discussion, and the ASEAN and UN.
Okay, I guess we'll get a lot more information from those meetings, Dan. Thank you so much for the update. Mobile journalist Julie Baisa reporting live from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Well, Wall Street saw a relief rally as slower than forecast inflation data reinforced market views that the Federal Reserve would cut rates. Stocks extended gains last Friday with the S&P 500 hitting fresh records. The Nasdaq up 1.1% and the Dow over 1%. Lower rates are fueling views of improved corporate earnings. An initial jump in Treasury sputtered as manufacturing and service surveys underscored the U.S. economy's resilience, with the benchmark 10-year yield settling to 3.996%. September's inflation edged up to 3%, but not as much as analysts expected. Economists polled by Reuters had expected a 3.1% rise year on year. And core inflation, which excludes volatile food and energy components, climbed 0.2% from August. On an annual basis, it rose 3%. The inflation report was delayed by 9 days due to the government shutdown. This key indicator is crucial as the Fed meets starting this Wednesday. As for U.S. futures, markets are pointing to gains. When they open later tonight Manila time, the Nasdaq is up by 0.8%, the S&P by 0.6, and the Dow by 0.5%. And Asian markets are mirroring that rally on Wall Street this Monday. So you can see the green arrows there. South Korea's Kospi jumps by over 2%. Japan's Nikkei 225 reaches 50,000 for the first time, advancing 1.6%. And Australia's ASX 200 climbs by over 1%. Now let's take a look at whether that's translating to gains as well in Philippine stocks. PSEI opening this Monday higher at 5,996, closing in on 6,000. The stock market plunged below 6,000 on Friday, with analysts expecting muted trading this week. Online brokerage firm 2TradeAsia.com says local trades are more locked to defensive yields in the long term and story-specific plays in the short term. Let's take a look at the Philippine peso. It opens today a tad stronger, 58.60 to the dollar. Peso went virtually unchanged Friday, sliding by about 1 centavo to 58.625 against the greenback. And the 10-year government bond yields have ticked up to 5.979%. The haven bid on gold can come off, albeit temporarily, for most bulls as the precious metal ran up to historic highs in the past week. Well, with us now for a deep dive on all that glitters is Aaron Tsai, consultant at First Metro Securities. So good to see you, Aaron. Thank you so much for being here and welcome back to the program.
Hi, Cathy. Thank you for having me here.
All right, let's start with gold because 7 days last week, same time last week, we've seen gold rally to highs that we hadn't seen before at 4,381.21 ounce. That's just amazing. We've never seen that before. What now for gold, given that U.S. stocks have rallied on account of U.S. CPI that reinforced that there might be more Fed rate cuts down the line?
Well, for now, we have seen the gold prices already starting their consolidation. No? The gold is already up more than 100% from the breakout from the most recent
consolidation. Well, let's take a look at that because it's just been an amazing trend that we've seen, and it's back to the mean, something that you've constructed. But what really took my interest here are the moving averages, the MACDs, where we can see that it's, whether it's overbought or oversold. Super overbought. Look at that. But then people just kept buying. Tell us more about this chart.
Actually, if you look at this chart, this is an MACD, although I tweaked it a little bit, to show the distance between the price and the moving average. So if we can look at the red bar chart here, we can see that the distance between the price and the 100-day moving average has really gone higher than any point in history. And again, that is telling us that the bullishness that is prevailing in the gold prices now is really off the charts.
It is, but it's just respected that 100-day moving average. If I could just point out this red line here, never been broken.
Yeah.
But what if it does?
Yeah, so that's why the current play, at least for the short to medium term, is that because of these excesses, we are expecting some pullbacks, preferably to not hurt the bullish sentiment on gold too much, preferably still above or bouncing off those 20, 50, and 100-day moving averages. But of course, nothing stays forever.
Nothing does.
As we have seen, the 100-day moving average, the red line here, has been supporting every dip of gold prices historically. But if we see the gold prices plunge and go below the 100-day moving average, then we know that we are not in the same trend anymore.
Right, like what they say, whatever goes up must come down. And it gets more interesting when we take a look at the gold-linked stocks. And we're taking a look at the mining and oil counters at the Philippine Stock Exchange Index. If we could reveal that, we're seeing a very interesting formation. And this formation, in fact, is quite the extended fifth of the extended fifth.
Yeah.
I thought that was a typo error, but it's not, like you tell me. With the 3 question marks there, what does that mean?
Yeah, actually, for the previous chart is showing us a daily chart. So it's telling us that it's still possible for the gold price to still go higher if it manages to respect the respective moving averages. But if we look at the full context of it, again, this is a 6-month frequency chart for gold prices. And if this chart is done right, then we can see that it has already somehow completed the requirement 5-wave structure and Elliott wave. And we have seen that from the bottom of the wave 4, we have seen a very significant run-up. That's why we're calling it an extended fifth. And even with the recent run-up that we are seeing, that we see that the over bullishness of the market is present. And as we know, when there is an over bullishness, especially if the market is going to the levels of the general public consciousness already, then it's possible that that excesses might produce some corrections at the least.
True. I know when you see a lot of the people buying gold in the jewelry shops, then we got to talk about gold from this perspective. We dug up more data. The team dug up more data way back to when, I don't think you were born then yet, 1979. Gold on track for its strongest annual performance since the late 70s. Well, I was born then, but I wasn't watching gold, but I wanted to overlay that with the mining and oil counters. Let's take a look at that formation that I was mentioning here. This is very striking, and it interests me because it's the head and shoulders formation that a lot of the technical chartists watch. What does it actually tell us now with the rally that we've seen in gold like we hadn't seen it?
Yes, actually, this chart is showing us the PSE Mining and Oil Index. So we have been tracking this for years now, because it's very interesting that from the 2020 bottom, it has rallied strongly, that it managed to erase all the drop that it has done from this leg, no? And more interestingly, the recent upfront, no, of the gold prices has pushed this mining in oil index chart to make a higher low, no, which again is a bullish signal. No? So what happened recently was because 60% of this mining in oil index is comprised of gold miners like APX, OGP, and of course the Philex mining. The run up has challenged, no, the resistance or the neckline of this head and shoulders. And recently, last week, actually, it broke above the
Let's
neckline
take a look at that
already.
breakout, the breakout on the neckline, because it's just so stark. And it's something that you don't really see this all the time. I mean, maybe crypto,
Yeah.
but not even close. Tell us when that breakout happened, and did you expect it because of that head and shoulders formation?
We have been keeping track of this. No, this is a very long consolidation. No, this is more than 3 years of
So
consolidation.
if anybody held on to gold right from the pandemic, at the start of the pandemic, and held it on till Monday of last week, then they made a real big buck.
Yes, definitely. No,
Wow.
again, it's as based on this chart, we are seeing an upside of more than 100% now from the breakout from March 2024.
Okay, well, let's take a look at the stocks that it did impact. A glorious ascent, as we've seen, with Oceana Gold. My goodness, it's just run up so much. A glorious run up there, but then again, a glorious rundown, that descent, because we've seen gold prices already fall from last week.
Yes. Most of the time when we see chart doing like this, no, almost a vertical price movement, no. Actually, in the case of OGP, it has been supported not just by gold prices, but also of the very high dividend yield. No, it has come to a point that this counter is actually giving investors more than 10% yield. No, as the gold prices are going higher. No, so not only is the underlying commodity, which is gold, no, providing some support for the uptrend, no, but also the excitement and, of course, the safety from the yield that OGP is giving its investors.
All right, speaking of safety, let's take a look at the next chart, because this feels like a pretty dizzying ascent there. I haven't seen it gone down, and you do cite a breakout. What's happening here if it's not the kind of play that we're seeing in Oceana?
Yeah, from this at this point, well, Oceana is a different thing. No, Oceana is a new IPO, no, a new stock in the market, and it has really gone higher again based on those factors, no. Whereas the mining sector, the mining stocks like Apex and Philex Mining has been in a downtrend, no, for the long time, no, and now they have resurged. Now they have resurfaced, no, so to speak. And if you look at the chart of Philex and Apex Mining, they actually managed to break above their historic highs already, their major resistance level, not historic highs, but major resistance levels. But then again, if we correlate it with gold prices, definitely they follow the cue of the gold price, no. And if we are anticipating some cooling, no, in the gold prices, then we do appreciate some, at the very least, retest of the previous resistance broken by Philex as well as APX.
Well,
Mining.
JP Morgan isn't seeing any cooling, because this is what they're forecasting. Gold prices averaging $5,055 per ounce by late 2026. I mean, if you take a look at the charts that you have, and let's take a look at the next one. I know that you've gone a long way back to the 70s. What does it say?
Well, this chart is actually telling us, now this is from subotrade.com, this chart is showing us that every time that the gold has run up for 9 weeks, at that, the gold prices tend to go lower, no. And again, on the average, a month later, on the average, it has gone down 11%, no, which is consistent to what we're seeing now. So from the 4,380 high to the 4,000 recent low, around 4,000, it's already an 8% drop, no. And from where we are now, we do anticipate some rally, no. But from the structure that we see on the chart of gold, we are still anticipating another leg down, no, which we think could go at least around 3,800.
All right, well, let's take a look at your recommendations to wrap all this up and make sense of it all. What are your recommendations, and what sort of timelines then?
Yes, for now, based on what we're seeing in the chart now, from the hourly chart, daily chart, and again, the context, the long-term chart, we think the gold has run up so fast and has gone too far, from its respective moving averages. So I think there's a case for lighting up on gold. Now, we have been making so much money already from gold, so maybe it's time to realize those gains. But from where we are now, we are still at the foot, no? We are still at the foot of the drop, no, from the 4,380 high, no. So what I think is a better strategy would be to wait for a rally, which we do anticipate to go at around 4,200 to maybe around 4,300, no, sell at those levels, and then wait for a proper basing, no, before we re-participate, no, in the gold play.
So for those who bought jewelry, gold jewelry, what do you recommend? Sell it now or hold?
Well, for those who bought the gold jewelry, maybe, I hope it's for a bigger purpose. No, maybe to make someone happier than they usually are. No? But it's the different thing. No, when we do financial markets investing, especially even in precious metals like gold, no, we are very much subjected with the emotions and the sight, no, of a red in our portfolio, unlike in the still glittering gold in our cabinets.
Exactly. And that's why we talk about that. Thank you so much, Aaron, for making sense of it all. Much appreciated.
My pleasure.
Aaron Sai of First Metro Securities. You're watching Money Talks coming right up. President Marcos says the government is looking into tax benefits for the public and private sector. Analytics Association of the Philippines says they are ready to help government in plans to blockchain the national budget. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. Workers in both the public and private sectors can expect less tax burden as the Finance Department and the Bureau of Internal Revenue propose higher ceilings for tax-exempt benefits. The move follows President Marcos's directive to provide tax relief, aiming to outweigh inflation and rising living costs while maintaining fiscal discipline and industry competitiveness. Meal allowances for overtime and night shift workers will rise to 30% of the minimum wage, while the cap for collective bargaining and productivity incentives will increase to 12,000 from 10,000 pesos. The tax-free limit for unused vacation leave credits will go up to 12 days for private employees, and allowances for uniforms, rice subsidies, and medical support will also be raised. Finance Secretary Ralph Recto says these adjustments will have minimal impact on revenue, but will provide significant relief for workers. Before leaving for Malaysia to attend the 47th ASEAN Summit, President Marcos stressed the reason behind these changes.
But these changes are not just about numbers. They are about fairness and dignity in the workplace. Every Filipino worker deserves to benefit from the nation's growth.
The Philippine Stock Exchange has approved the voluntary delisting of 8990 Holdings, Inc., paving the way for the affordable housing developers' exit from the local bourse this month. The company's shares will be removed from the PSC's official registry effective October 31st, ending its 15-year run as a publicly listed firm. Originally incorporated in 2005 as IP Converged Data Center, the company shifted to a holding firm after a reorganization in 2012. It is the second company to delist this year after Keppel Philippines Holdings ended its nearly 4-decade listing in July. Private sector leaders in the Analytics Association of the Philippines say they are ready to help government in its plans to blockchain the national budget. Proposals to blockchain the budget have surfaced of late following the anomalous government flood control projects, now subject to an investigation by the Independent Commission on Infrastructure. Outspoken thought leaders with Cathy Yang, chair of the Responsible AI Council, and Michelle Alarcon, president of the Analytics Association of the Philippines, and these are what they had to say.
Well, I'll have my take. I think Michelle has a deeper take on this. But essentially, my point is anything that involves technology has to be handled very carefully.
Agree.
Because there's a lot of hype surrounding these technologies. And so responsible people have to be part of the oversight of these technologies. You will remember when we implemented automated elections in 2010, in fact, we were a path breaker in automated elections, but we discovered all of the problems later, right? Lack of transparency on the code, the corruption that happened. So when we implement technology, first we have to make sure the human capacity to responsibly oversee it is already in place. Otherwise, we get, the sweep of hype and FOMO, fear of missing out, takes over. That's why I think from a governance perspective, because I'm hearing recommendations that we can solve the flood control issue through AI, etc., and now, of course, blockchaining the budget. But again, it's always humans who are making the important decisions. Any technology can be compromised by a human with a criminal intent. That's a law. There is no technology that has been invented that can stop a criminal mind who is highly motivated. But if you have an ecosystem of professionals who are looking out for these things and who will red flag what they see, and there is transparency in calling it out, then that's a better way to approach this issue.
As Doc Ben mentioned, this is not just about technology, right? I would even say this is about governance, because the Philippines we're not really good at assigning accountabilities, right? You would have technology, you would have, you can say that there's transparency in the technology, and that was the intention for picking blockchain, right? But at the end of the day, who is accountable? Is it the technology solutions provider? Is it DPWH? Is it going to be, who's going to be accountable if this fails, if this works? Of course,
the same with automated elections, if you remember.
Same with automated elections. So I think that culture of assigning accountabilities and also saying that, yes, it was my fault or my responsibility. I think we have to do a better job at that. Like we can see now other discussions in Congress, and we have people who are already, testifying, and investigations are happening, but still no one is made accountable for anything, right? But I think in the ecosystem, the intention is to first make people aware, and it is a bit sad that we are just talking about ethics now, when it's been there in business ethics, right? And we were talking about data ethics earlier on in early days of AAP, because that is very important for data practitioners to know about, and also the end users. And now we talk about AI ethics, right? So ethics has been there all along, but it's becoming more of an afterthought. After a crisis. So I think we just need to bring this matter at the forefront.
Catch my full interview with Ben and Michelle on Thought Leaders live streamed on YouTube and other social media channels. Here are the headlines from around the globe. In Malaysia, top U.S. and Chinese officials have laid out a framework of a trade deal that would pause steeper tariffs and stringent Chinese rare earths controls. The trade deal is up for approval by Presidents Trump and Xi, with both leaders set to meet on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation in South Korea on Thursday. U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer says both sides have found a path forward where the U.S. can access more rare earths and China balance its trade deficit. In Thailand, the remains of Queen Mother Sirikit has returned to the Grand Palace, with the country entering a period of mourning that will last for a year. People wept as the royal motorcade held a procession that spanned 10 kilometers. The Queen Mother died Friday at age 93. A monarch who embodied glamour and elegance, Sirikit had been out of the public eye since 2012 after suffering a stroke. And in France, police have arrested two men in their 30s suspected in the brazen robbery at the Louvre. One of them was caught at the airport after attempting to leave France for Algeria. There is no indication, however, that the prized jewels stolen have been recovered. The Paris prosecutor handling the case is angry that the arrests have been leaked to a newspaper. That is it for Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. Catch us again tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Kapatid, we are One News. All sides, all the time. Have a great day ahead.